The graduation party should have been about me. 4 years of computer science at Stanford, graduating summa cum laude, with 3 job offers from top tech companies, but standing in the backyard of the house I'd called home since I was 14. It was obvious, this wasn't a celebration of my success. It was a farewell. Alex, my stepmom Patricia announced, loud enough for every neighbor to hear. I suppose this is goodbye. I glanced up from the grill where I was quietly flipping burgers. Goodbye? Her smile was razor sharp. Didn't your father tell you? We're selling the house. Downsizing. Really? Too much upkeep with someone who doesn't contribute. Dad shifted uncomfortably beside her, saying nothing, as usual. He'd been letting Patricia run the family since they married 8 years ago. Brittany, my stepsister, smirked from her lounge chair. We're not downsizing, Alex. We're upgrading. Dad got a promotion. We're moving to Westfield, the golf course community. The houses there start at $800,000. Kyle, my stepbrother, added without looking up from his phone. Way too nice for a guy starting out on an entry-level salary. The neighbors chuckled politely. Mrs. Henderson, who'd known me since high school, actually nodded in agreement. It's for the best, Patricia continued, playing to her audience. Alex has always been different. Time for him to stand on his own 2 feet. This is my home, I said quietly. Patricia's laugh cracked like glass. Your home? Sweetheart, this was never your home. You've been a guest. Now it's time to move on. What none of them knew, what I'd never told them, was that while they saw me as a broke student, I'd been quietly building something far bigger. It started sophomore year, with a simple campus dining app. Nothing fancy, just a way to check wait times. My professor pushed me to patent the algorithm. A logistics company licensed it for $2.3 million. By junior year, I'd built a supply chain platform with grad students I hired as contractors. At 21, Amazon bought it for $47 million. But in their eyes, I was still just Alex, the quiet kid glued to his laptop. I'd been watching their finances through my lawyers. The promotion Dad got was a lateral move. Patricia had been draining equity from the house to keep up appearances. When foreclosure loomed, a mysterious buyer swooped in with a cash offer. That buyer was Phoenix Holdings, LLC, my company. I owned the house they were standing in. When are you moving? I asked, pulling another burger off the grill. 2 weeks, Patricia said brightly. We close next Friday. That's soon, I said. The new owners are being very generous about timing, she replied. I smiled. That was considerate of them. Kyle stretched and yawned. Finally, my own bathroom. And I'll get a walk-in closet, Brittany added. Dad's voice was low, almost apologetic. Alex, maybe we should discuss where you'll go? Patricia cut him off. What's to discuss? He's 22, has a degree, and a job lined up. Independence is overdue. I nodded. You're right. Independence is important. She lit up, thinking I'd surrendered. Exactly. You'll thank us one day. Nothing builds character like starting from scratch. Mrs. Henderson chimed in approvingly. Patricia's absolutely right. Some of us actually work for what we have, Kyle muttered. Some of us know what real family means, Brittany added. I kept grilling, letting them talk. The irony was delicious. They were celebrating my eviction, while standing in my backyard, eating food I'd paid for, planning to move into a house only made possible because I'd bought this one out from under them. Where will you go? Mrs. Henderson asked kindly. I'll figure something out, I said. Maybe a small apartment, Patricia suggested. Affordable, perfect for a starter. Sounds perfect, I said. You're taking this well, Dad murmured. What's the point of arguing? I shrugged. Patricia beamed. See, mature enough to handle it. He knows this is best for everyone. The neighbors nodded. My stepfamily went inside to dream about their new life. I stayed behind, cleaning up the backyard, my backyard, knowing the real story was only just beginning. As I folded the last lawn chair, my phone buzzed. A text from my lawyer. Eviction notices ready. Serve tomorrow? I typed back, yes, first thing in the morning. Any special instructions? Make sure Patricia signs hers personally. The next morning, the doorbell rang. From my upstairs window, I spotted a man in a suit holding a clipboard. Patricia opened the door, still in her robe. Patricia Reynolds? He asked. Yes. I have documents for you to sign. I slipped downstairs quietly, staying out of sight. Patricia scanned the papers, her face tightening. This says eviction notice. There's some mistake. No mistake, ma'am, the server replied. You have 30 days to vacate. Her voice shot up an octave. That's ridiculous, we own this house. Actually, county records show it's owned by Phoenix Holdings, LLC. You've been occupying it without a valid lease. Dad appeared, bewildered. What's happening? Some lunatic is trying to evict us. Patricia shoved the papers at him. The man checked his clipboard. Robert Reynolds? These are for you as well. Dad opened the envelope, his face draining of color. It says the house was sold 3 months ago. That's correct, sir. Purchased at foreclosure auction. Patricia's shriek could have shattered glass. Foreclosure? That's impossible. Not impossible, ma'am. Notices were sent by certified mail and published publicly. I caught the flicker of guilt on Dad's face. He'd been ignoring those letters. Within an hour, chaos consumed the kitchen. Papers scattered, phones buzzing. Patricia paced like a cornered animal. Alex, she said desperately when I walked in. Thank God, you're good with computers. Someone stole our house. Help us find them. I feigned confusion, sitting down at the table. Let me look. I opened my laptop and pretended to dig. Phoenix Holdings is complicated. Lots of shell companies. Hard to trace. Can you find out who's behind it? Dad asked. I can try, but it'll take time. Patricia slammed a hand on the counter. This is insane. You can't just steal someone's home. Technically, I said evenly. The bank foreclosed. Phoenix Holdings bought it legally. Dad looked stricken. I thought I had more time. Patricia spun on him. You knew? You let this happen? Kyle and Brittany drifted in, half asleep. What's going on? Kyle asked. Your stepfather lost our house, Patricia snapped. Dad slumped into a chair. We can't close on Westfield without selling this place, and we don't own it anymore. Silence, then panic. Where are we supposed to live? Brittany demanded. There has to be something we can do, Patricia said. Fight it in court. With what money? Dad muttered. Maybe we can rent it back, Kyle suggested. Rent? Patricia spat. Our own house? I kept typing, then looked up as if I'd found something. Phoenix Holdings uses a law firm, Harrison Wells Associates. You could apply through them. Patricia grabbed her phone and dialed, only to be stonewalled by paralegals and receptionists. They won't let us speak to the owners. She fumed. Everything goes through lawyers. What did they say? Brittany asked. They'll consider a rental agreement, but we'd have to apply like tenants. Dad had already been scanning the foreclosure paperwork. His voice was low, defeated. It's all legal. We're lucky they're even giving us a chance. Lucky? Patricia's voice cracked. 3 days later, the reply came. Patricia read it aloud, her voice trembling. Phoenix Holdings LLC is prepared to offer the Reynolds family a lease at 2847 Oakwood Drive. Monthly rent, $4,200. First month's rent and security deposit due upon signing. Kyle nearly choked. $4,200? That's double our mortgage. It's market rate, Dad said quietly. And how are we supposed to pay that? Brittany snapped. Patricia's hands shook as she read the rest. Lease terms. Property must be maintained in excellent condition. No modifications without written permission. She trailed off, eyes burning. They're treating us like strangers in our own home. Dad's reply was flat. Because it's not our home anymore. I closed my laptop slowly, hiding a smile. Not yours. Never was. All utilities were the tenant's responsibility. Lease term, month to month. Renewable only at the landlord's discretion. Month to month? Brittany frowned. That means they can kick us out anytime. It also means we can leave anytime, Dad said. Where would we even go? I don't know. Patricia flipped to the second page. Her voice faltered as she read, Phoenix Holdings reserves the right to show the property with 24-hour notice. Tenants acknowledge this is temporary and should plan for alternative housing. Silence fell. In a single signature, they had gone from homeowners to tenants, paying double their old mortgage. with no stability, no control. We don't have a choice, Dad finally said. What about Alex? Brittany asked suddenly. If we're paying $4,200 a month, we can't afford to support him too. All eyes turned to me. For so long, I'd been the quiet background figure in their lives, easy to forget. Until now. Actually, I said, I have good news. I found an apartment downtown. I can move this weekend. Patricia brightened, relief flooding her face. That's wonderful. Everything is working out. There's just one small thing. What's that? My new landlord wants references. Since I've lived here for 8 years, I was hoping you'd vouch for me as a tenant. Of course, Patricia said quickly. What should we say? Just that I was clean, quiet, responsible, that I always paid my share of expenses on time. Dad frowned. Alex, you never paid rent. Your family. I raised my eyebrows. Oh, that might look strange to a landlord, don't you think? A 22-year-old with no rental history. They'll understand. Patricia insisted. You lived with us. I tried that. They said even family should charge something. Otherwise, how do they know I can pay? The irony hung heavy in the room. They were evicting me for not contributing, yet they'd never once asked me to. What do you need from us? Dad asked. A letter. Say I paid $800 a month these past 4 years. Always on time. That's not true, Kyle muttered. I know, but it would really help me out. Dad and Patricia exchanged a quick glance. They were drowning and they knew it. They needed me for tech help, paperwork, connections. The last thing they wanted was to cross me now. Of course, Patricia said at once. We'll write it tonight. I smiled. Thanks, I appreciate it. What they didn't know was that the letter was going straight into my company's files, proof of how easily they'd lie when it suited them. That weekend, I moved downtown. In reality, I settled into a penthouse I'd bought 6 months earlier. Meanwhile, my property management company sent me monthly reports on the house at Oakwood Drive. They were model tenants, rent on time, house immaculate. Fear of eviction had made them appreciate what they once took for granted. But $4,200 a month bled them dry. Dad started driving nights for a rideshare. Patricia went back to retail. Kyle and Brittany took part-time jobs. For the first time in their lives, they learned what it meant to sweat over bills. 6 months later, I decided it was time. My lawyer sent a letter. Phoenix Holdings LLC has elected to sell 2847 Oakwood Drive. As current tenants, you have first right of refusal. Market value, $895,000. Patricia called me in tears. Alex, they're selling. We can't afford $895,000. That's rough, I said evenly. Maybe renting an apartment won't be so bad. This is our home. Patricia, I reminded her. You told me 8 months ago this house was too good for someone like me. Maybe it's too good for all of us. Her voice broke. I was wrong. I was cruel to you. I made you feel like you didn't belong. And now I see, you were the only one who acted like family. I let the silence stretch. Then, do you know who Phoenix Holdings is? Some investment company, I guess. It's owned by Meridian Technologies, which is owned by Sterling Digital, which is owned by me. The line went dead quiet. I've been your landlord for 8 months, I said softly. Patricia choked. That's not possible. You're just what? A kid with a computer science degree? I paused. I built a $73 million company before I graduated. She broke down sobbing. Alex. I'm sorry, we all are. What happens now? Now you have a choice. Keep renting at $4,200, or buy it back for $895,000. Her gasp was audible. Or, I added, I'll sell it back to you for the $400,000 you originally owed. No profit, just what you lost to foreclosure. Why would you do that? Because, despite everything, you're still my family, and family helps family, even when they don't deserve it. I heard her crying again. One condition, I said, you sit down together and have an honest conversation about how you treated me, and how you want to treat each other moving forward. 6 weeks later, I sat down for Sunday dinner at Oakwood Drive. Dad cooked. Patricia set the table with discount store dishes. Kyle and Brittany argued over chores. For the first time, It felt like a real family. Alex, Patricia said before we ate, her voice trembling, I owe you an apology. A real one. In front of everyone. I was wrong to treat you like you didn't belong. We all were. Dad nodded. Kyle muttered, sorry, man. Brittany added softly, I was jealous. I shouldn't have been so cruel. I looked around the table, people who once saw me as a burden, now trying to rebuild. We all made mistakes, I said, but we can do better. By actually being a family, not just people under the same roof. By supporting each other's dreams, even when we don't understand them. Dad lifted his glass. To family. The real kind. To family, we echoed. And in that moment, I realized the house was never the point. Home isn't brick and wood. It's whether the people inside choose to make it one. The kid they tried to throw out had become the man who saved them. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your family. It's teaching them what family really means.